started boxing when I and Pierce, when we were like 5 years old. Dad bought us a pair of gloves, so we always boxed. We boxed before we went to school and after we went to school and in grade school and high school. My brother was always bigger than me. My dad showed us how to you know, reach, get our guard up and reach out with a jab and jab him, but Pierce was bigger than me and he'd always hit me that right hand sticking out there with the left hand, and so I always put my right hand out as a southpaw this way, so I'd block his jab. So I'd hit him with my jab, so he couldn't hit me with that jab, so that's why I fought as a southpaw ever since I was little. But anyway, we was boxing with a friend of mine in Big Rapids High School, and we were seniors. And Ferris student teacher wanted to know if we wanted to fight for the Moose Club in Grand Rapids next weekend. Oh, well, we figured, yeah, why not? We don't mind, we just get our bus beat, who cares, you know. Meanwhile, we went down to the Moose Club and trained a couple of days, so we're sitting at the Golden Gloves at the Civic Auditorium. There was about 4,000 people there, and they get you all ready for the fight, so they keep moving up chairs when it's your turn to go into the ring. So I'm sitting there thinking, you know, don't care if I get my butt beat, but not in front of all these people. So it was when it come time to, you know, get in the ring, we get in the ring and fought like the devil, beat everybody. So I won the Golden Gloves that year. So I didn't know I was a fighter. So I guess I was a better fighter than all them city kids.
Unranked Toothpick Brown in the dark trunks has everything to gain in this 10-rounder with Lane. The Lightning Lane looks like he's ready to strike in round 6. And strike he does with a couple of beauties that land flush on Brown's jaw. The referee breaks the clinch, and Brown wishes he hadn't, as Lane puts across the finisher. Toothpick is down and out. The referee could count forever. Toothpick Brown is in the deep freeze. The count goes to 10, and it's a 6th round, 1-minute, 14-second knockout victory for Kenny Lane.
My name's Alan Rosenthal.
Yeah.
I was the correspondent for Ring Magazine at the time of the Armstead fighting. And
Paulie Armstead, when Kenny Lane fought him.
all the way to Saginaw to see that fight.
Kenny Lane, Paulie Armstead.
Kenny just bewildered him. He just
right?
he couldn't hit Kenny with a handful of rice, you know. Ken was great. I saw Ken. I think I went to the Riviera Theater, one of those theaters, to see Ken fight Joe Brown, closed circuit, and I thought he really held his own. Brilliant boxer, great fighter. Boxing was the science with that guy. Where he got all that stuff, I don't know.
You get a title fight if you belong to the right people, and if you don't sign up with them people, they just, you know, feed you the dogs. So that's how Ortiz ended up getting the lightweight title, is belong to the right people. Every time we had a few fights in New York, he said, we're going to fight Frankie Riff in the Garden, and next show I beat this guy, so I beat that guy. But Frankie Riff belonged to the right people, and he was a hot shot coming along, and they were going to groove him for a title fight. And so the next said, well, Lane beat this guy, and then we'll get we get Frankie Riff in the Garden. So I beat that guy, and Frankie Riff still didn't, in the Garden. So I beat this guy in or that guy, the guys they produce you, they always give you the same old story. Well, Frankie Riff never got a title shot, and he fought somebody, he got knocked out, and he got knocked off the pedestal that they was on, so then they were through with him. He said, okay, Lane, now you can fight Frankie Riff. So I fought him in Miami on national television. I beat him. I fought him 6 weeks later in Norfolk, and I knocked him out in the 6th round. And then, still, of course, the champion was going to fight Joe Brown. Didn't happen.
Riff, weighing 139 pounds and wearing the white trunks, lost a unanimous decision to Lane in Florida last November. Tonight, he wants revenge. But Lane, at 139.5 pounds, has his eye on the title. Action is hot and heavy in round 3 as both stand toe-to-toe. Lane's right jabs and solid straight lefts open a slight cut on the left brow of Riff. Dr. Ira Hancock examines the wound at the end of the 5th. He advises referee Patty Mills to stop the bout if the cut opens again. after only 32 seconds of the 6th round, referee Mills stops the bout. Kenny Lane registers his 11th straight victory on a technical knockout over Frankie Red. Kenny wants a title fight in the near future. The way he's going, he may get it.
I went to Madison Square Garden in 1972, and I talked to Teddy Brenner. He told me he thought that Kenny Lane was the greatest left-hand boxer he had ever seen. He was crafty, he had a way of beating some of these big punchers, and he's all the great punchers like Carlos Hernandez. No one would fight him. Joe Brown was a tremendously powerful puncher, and Kenny more or less beat him for 15 rounds for the world title. But back then, there were some people involved in boxing. A guy named Frankie Carbo that controlled Joe Brown. And my humble opinion is that he had the judges paid off. He pretty much was beating Ortiz in the second fight in Madison Square Garden. So
On box rec on computer,
Yeah.
it says that Ortiz knocked me down in the 14th round.
oh no,
What a bunch of crap.
yeah, no, they don't get that
Right
straight.
there, crap.
But with Joe Brown, he beat Joe Brown soundly over 15 rounds, and should have been the champion. But you know.
Well, wait till I make my comeback. That'll make me come back before I get too old.
He fought 8 world champions total, and the guy was a phenomenal fighter. I don't think anybody realizes in Muskegon what a real treasure we have here, and what a living legend we have right here in Muskegon, and we're just really proud of him. Also, Kenny was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame October 17, 2004. You don't get inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame unless you can fight.
That was in '58, and we ended up pulling out of the WBA because I've been almost #1 contender for 10 years in a row. And we pulled out of the WBA, which that was the only affiliation at that time. And the state, we held our own championship. We took the #1 contender, which was I, and Paulie Armstead, the #2 contender, and we fought for the lightweight champion of the world, which I won. And we spent another, let's say, 5 years trying to get Carlos Ortiz in the ring. But anyway, we finally, after we got split and had 2 different champions, we unified the title in 1964. I and Ortiz fought in Puerto Rico for the lightweight championship, and I lost a decision to him. I am a proud 50.
That's right, he's 50. Fight fans in the 50s and 60s might remember his 79, 15, and 2 record as a lightweight boxer. 4 of those losses came in world title fights. Lane has spent most of his time since retirement from the ring 17 years ago training other young boxers, and surprisingly, that's what prompted his return. A lot of his friends think Lane may have taken a few too many shots to the head in the ring, but he says there isn't anything farther from the truth.
I was in the boxing business for, like, say, 12 years, and I never took any beatings from anyone. I lost fights, but I never took no beatings from anyone. And I don't figure on taking any beatings from, anybody now.
He's ring-wise. He can handle himself in the ring very well. And Kenny doesn't get hurt. He takes care of himself when he's in the ring.
For 12 years, Kenny Lane was a big name in boxing. He was a perennial #1 contender. He fought for the lightweight title 2 times. Here's one of them. This was a 15-round bout with Joe Brown back in '58. And there is Kenny getting pounded. He lost in a decision, by the way. Kenny also fought for the junior welterweight title once and won 77 professional fights, but that was 20 years ago and more. Now, Kenny Lane is 50, and he is a grandfather. Earlier this month, he went into the ring in his hometown of Muskegon, Michigan, wearing his old dark trunks. He came away with victory number 78. It was an 8-round unanimous decision, and his opponent was only 27. Good morning, Kenny.
Good morning, David.
You look okay?
Thank you.
You got through it all right?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't get pounded or hurt?
Oh, no. It's all in a day's work.
Oh, now, Kenny, come on. 50 years old and to say it's all in a day's work?
Well, you got to work at it. You just don't walk in the ring. Like I say, it takes a lot of training, a lot of work, and
Why
when
did
you're
you,
in
why
shape.
did you do it? Why did you decide
Well,
to fight
I'd say the history of my boxing career, actually, I always boxed because not because I was a tough kid on the street, because I loved to do it. And like I say, that I seen Marcus Haynes on TV that was retired by the Globetrotters here quite a few years ago, said he was too old. But he organized his own team.
60?
He's 63 now, and he runs
63?
up and down that court like a kid, and that kind of inspired me.
The comeback continues tonight for Muskegon's own Kenny Lane.
inductee we honor had a boxing career that spanned over 4 decades. Kenny Lane won the World Lightweight Championship by beating Paul Armstead in 1963. His 98-fight career includes battles with boxing greats such as Curtis Cokes, Ralph Dupas, Carlos Hernandez, Paddy DeMarco, and a victory over Carlos Ortiz in 1958 in the first of their 3 bouts. Remarkably, ladies and gentlemen, 17 years after his retirement, Kenny Lane made a 4-fight comeback at the age of 50 and weighed in at a still trim and ready 137 pounds.
Wow. 2004 inductee into the World Boxing Hall of Fame, the former lightweight champion of the world, Kenny Lane.
Look back to the game. It's an honor to present Kenny Lane.
I thank you. Related to get honored by the World Boxing Hall of Fame. It's better than ever winning a title. And when you win a title, you're going to be the ex-champion. When you elected to the Boxing Hall of Fame, it's forever. Gee, I'm going to do something in the world and make a mark so people know I was here. And I was, figuring to win a Nobel Prize like in chemistry or science, but I become a futurist instead. So, it's been 51 years I've done this business, and I finally got recognized and I made my mark in the sands. Thank you. Well, my life. I was born standing up on the farm.
What year?
In 1932, before there was real people.
When did you win the Golden Glove?
And I won the Golden Gloves back in 1952.
How old were you then?
I was 19.
Now he's beating the hell out of his grandson.
What year did you turn professional?
I turned professional on my 21st birthday, April 9th, 1953.
And who was your manager?
My manager was Pete Petrosky.
And then
Who was with Jack Kearns also was 5 years. Chickens, we got to chase some chickens.
What's chickens have to do with anything?
You see that on the movie, in the Rocky movies. They get the other night. Do his footwork to chase them chickens because they go back and forth. A big fight going on. Next round. Against your grandson. Okay, let's go to work.
Come back and brag about it.
You got that. You're eating all the food. You get aggressive. You get your head knocked off. So you gotta get in out there and be like me. I'm a damn hippie now. That's right, you gotta knock my head off the wind. Learn to think.
Let me get a picture of you guys. Come on over.
Easy to hit. And you can't be easy to hit in this game. It's better to give than receive. Got it? I retired for 17 years, and since we started training, and I felt good and stuff, and I got down to weight, and so I made a comeback. So it was hard to, get any promoters enthused about an up-and-coming 50-year-old. So I had, how many fights I had? About 96 in, and now I ended up with an even 100 So I said, like I say, couldn't get no promoters enthused about an up-and-coming 50-year-old, so I just hung it up. There was nowhere to go. Have gloves, will travel, but nowhere to go.
Are you gonna make another comeback?
I should before I get too old, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been off now, if I made my comeback in 82, my last fight was 85. So that would give me, yeah, 20 years ago. So like I say, I should do it before I get too old. Yeah, so outside of that, it happened that way, going west.